So 6 independent candidates made it onto the provincial ballot. This is the first time in South Africa where independent candidates are able to contest for seats in the National Assembly as well as the provincial legislatures. One of the 6 provincial candidates who made it onto the list is Thanasagren Moodley, who is vying for a seat in the KwaZulu-Natal legislature. Let's now find out more about his campaign. He now joins us live via video link. Thanasagren, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. When I saw your picture, I was like, isn't this Karo Charo?
Yes, that is Karo Charo.
It is.
And you got it almost right. You got it almost right, though.
Okay.
It's Karo Charo. Almost there.
Karo Charo. Okay. So you are known as a comedian. You are known as an entertainer. Why do you want to be in public service?
Well, firstly, that's a bit of a misnomer there. I just come off an interview with SABC as well, and they just chose to choose a certain amount of credentials about me. Being an artist and an entertainer is just one of my fortes. I'm actually been a humanitarian and an activist, community activist, a political commentator for many, many years. So as Shrek said in the movie, I'm like an onion. I've got numerous layers. So comedian and entertainer is just one part of that.
And you're like an onion. You've got me.
Correct.
But the humor is always there, I guess, and it goes with you. You are that particular individual who's also an entertainer. But as you say as well, that you have a background in philanthropy work as well. But tell us why? Why public service? Why do you want to be in the provincial legislature?
Well, this comes with a lot of people who are activists on the ground. Many people believe you must shout at the government. Some people believe you must be in the government. For many years, I was an activist shouting from the outside. And it is quite effective, by the way, to be an activist shouting from the outside. So I've been doing that for many, many years. I've been involved in many structures doing the same thing, shouting from the outside, challenging government, shaking the tree, rattling the cage. And then I thought, why not try and get in on the inside and see what can I do because I've been on the outside. I know what it is to be on the outside. I don't know what it is to be on the inside. So one part of answering your question is, because there's many parts as to why I wanted to get into this, but one part, as you're saying, is let me get on the inside. Let me see how it works on the inside. And can I really affect change from the inside? I don't know until I'm there. So I've done the outside work. Now I want to get in on the inside.
Yeah. Were there people who approached you and said that would you be willing to take up a seat?
Look, stemming from Karo Charo, who was an artist entertainer, and I drew a massive following. And then I started using my platform more responsibly and talking politics, commentating on. I was just commentating on things and airing my views. And then suddenly people started approaching me to say, "Listen, you need to get into politics. We need you." And I was wondering, but why? I'm just an entertainer. And then I got to realize the reason they were gravitating towards me is because there was this massive vacuum of leadership, especially in my Indian community. Massive vacuum that they were now just migrating to anyone who basically stood up and had the guts to say something. And that was me throughout my last 5 to 10 years, been standing up and saying things. So those were the sort of intimations I was getting towards moving in this direction, that my community and people needed leadership.
Yeah. And you believe that you have that specific leadership that is required?
Well, let's put it this way. So even before I got into this, I was trying to join another party. I was trying to hook up with other people. And after looking at their credentials and what they've done and how they're going about this, it suddenly dawned on me one morning, hell man, I'm head and shoulders above these guys. I know a lot more. I've done a lot more community activism. I've done a lot more political commentary. I'm much more educated. I'm much more smarter. So why am I trying to find somebody else to follow when I'm actually can lead from the front?
Yeah. Let's then speak about what it is that you are offering. And I saw a poster that came out. I don't know if you've seen it. The KC Independent Candidate 2024 KZN Legislature. You know about that poster, right?
Is it my poster or somebody else's poster?
It is you on that poster. It says the only Indian independent candidate in the national elections, only Indian independent candidate for KZN legislature, the only activist, not afraid to push a pro-Indian agenda.
Yes, that's
that is you.
That's mine.
Okay.
That is me.
Okay, so let's start here then. What is a pro-Indian agenda?
Well, I knew the question was coming, so the Indian community in South Africa, in my opinion, and based on the people around me that I've had, like I said, I'm one of the most influential Indians in South Africa at the moment in my community. And getting a feel for them and what the feeling on the ground is that we've been basically a political football in the new democracy since 1994. The cliche is we were not white enough back in the day, we're not black enough in the new South Africa. So we feel we're being marginalized, discriminated against, sidelined. And there are numerous examples to quote on that. And let's just start with the BE policy, which for many years I thought was a racist policy, the BE policy, triple B, whatever it is, until I got to realize that actually BE policy is a brilliant policy because it seeks to uplift previously disadvantaged communities. Black people and Indians are classified as blacks. But nowhere have we seen this manifest itself in our current situation. Indian people are not at the front of the queue for tenders, they're at the back of the queue. Indian people are not at the front of the queue when it comes to employment, we're at the back of the queue. So why is it that the BE policy is being implemented in a specific way? Hence, accordingly, I'm saying that we are being marginalized and discriminated against in the new South Africa, and there are no leaders within our community addressing this matter. I mean, our students, if you go to medical school, an Indian student is forced to get higher points than the other races. And even then a quota system applies that only 2 students are allowed to get in. Why does it apply? Nobody's asking the question.
Yeah. So in which form would you then say the Indian community is being marginalized? What is?
Well, I just said it.
I just said it. Okay, let me give you an example. For instance, if you look at the unemployment stats for Q2 in 2023, unemployment amongst the Black Africans is 36.8%, and amongst Indian Asians is at 16.6%. So we
only make up 2% of the population.
Sure.
We almost a non-entity. Under 2 million people in this country.
So in that particular demographic, the unemployment rate there is 16.6%, which is the second lowest after white people at 7.4%. So what does that tell you about marginalization and who's being marginalized?
No. If you're taking numbers based on 50 million people and and percentages based on 2 million people, I think it's a bit jaundiced. What I'm saying is this: if there's a job opportunity that arises, and don't get me wrong. So I'm not fighting. So let me just say this up front: I'm not fighting the fact that there must be black economic empowerment. I'm not fighting that at all. So let me be clear. I'm not saying that an African person should not get a job. I'm saying with 30 years into democracy, I'm also classified, my children are also classified as black in this country. Why are we then not on the same foothold? That's what I'm asking. It's clearly, from my experience, that when it comes to the employment queue, and not just my opinion, we hear it from employers, we hear that they've been told to hire only African people. So I'm saying, I'm not against that. There must be a leveling of the playing. Let me be very clear about that, because people want to come out and say, this pro-Indian agenda means you're anti-African. Let me just clarify that. That's not that. It means we still have to fight for our rights. Why are we not on the same playing field? When is it going to come a day that the implementation of the policy is proper so that we're all on the same level, and then we choose the best person for the job?
Okay, let me ask the question this way. So Indians as well as Africans are all classified as black under the triple BEE and BEE code. Why then, from your observation and your assessment, do you believe that amongst the so-called black African, the unemployment rate there is at 36.8% as compared to Indians at 16.6%, yet these two groups do form part of what is called under BEE black colored people also. Their unemployment rate is 21.9%. So why do you think that's the case?
So are you trying to say that obviously African people, black South Africans, are obviously sitting at a higher rate of unemployment? and that
well, the
Indian
stats
people
are saying that. That's not me. It's the stats that are saying that.
right.
Yeah.
So once again, if you're going for stats, if 100 people out of 2 million people are unemployed, obviously the stats are going to give you a certain percentage. But if you're sitting at 49 million African citizens in this country make up the population, hence the figures are going to be up. And it makes sense that if you ask the same question, why are there more black or African South Africans in the prison, is because the population is higher. Why are there less Indians in the prison? It's because the population is lower. It's not because they don't commit crimes. So based on the actual facts of your population size, that's how the numbers are going to go. It's not because black people or Africans are the biggest criminals in this country. There's a bigger group of people, hence it works in that. So I think answering that question about why the figures go, I think you use that analogy, or that's how the stats come out. Based on your population size.
So you think it's only based on the population size, nothing to do with socioeconomic conditions, the opportunities that are available to the various groups, and the lack of opportunities that are available to certain groups?
Well, I think the government has made it clear, if you're using the BE, unemployment rate in this country is high because the opportunities are getting less and less, and government is not creating the opportunities for employment. That's number one. So I'll come back to my point is, we as a community, once again I'm saying, I've heard people tell me about how they're being moved out. Now just look, I cannot understand your situation because I've never been in your situation. I can't understand how a person feels living in a shack because I've never lived in a shack, unless you have their lived experience. So my lived experience in my community is as follows. We are being left out of promotions. We are being moved sideways. We are being moved out of our position. This is what I've been hearing for the last 10 to 15 years. So that's something that I need to want to address, because nobody seems to be addressing it. So that's the problem I want to address. Okay. One of the problems.
One of the problems. Quickly give us two other problems.
Two others, too many to choose from. Well, another thing is a big thing in our communities at the moment, and clearly it's in the areas of KZN, or predominantly Indian areas, is this issue of high electricity bills and, well, let's start with electricity bills. Due to a problem with the municipality having their own problem for a couple of years, not getting readings, our citizens are sitting with bills of 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 rand, and they are being forced to pay. They are being forced to pay because there was a problem with the municipality readings, a problem with getting the figures out. So they must sit at the rent office. You have a 70-year-old granny, 80-year-old granny sitting at the so-called rent office and asking the people, why is this? And they say, no, we got a problem, but sign here, just sign for this debt and pay it over so many years. That's a major problem at the moment. Okay. And not very many people are stepping front to help find a solution. People are finding themselves lost. There's a couple of avenues available, but clearly it's a thorn in the side of the residents and ratepayers.
Okay. Just finally, as we conclude the conversation, your background, you have what looks like a ballot paper there. You have your face there. T.R. Moodley is also there with the X, of course, next to it. Is that the picture that you submitted to the IEC?
That's the picture. Why is it hard to believe?
So is that the picture that we are going to see on the ballot paper?
I'm a wave maker, I'm a change maker. Let me just tell everybody out there. Everybody thought that this can never be done. This will not be done. You can't get your picture. And I said, that is my look. I wear a headgear because of my religious reasons, and I have a medical condition. And these are my prescription glasses. But somehow people think that I just have this thing about being this sort of character. But for the last 15 to 20 years, this is the image they know. And when they go to the ballot sheet, that's the image they're going to see. That's the image they're going to vote for. And that's what they're going to see.
It looks cool.
Why does everybody find that I'm going to be the best looking picture candidate on the provincial ballot sheet? And I believe from the time I've been in entertainment, I may not be the best, but very well I'm going to be the best looking person on the platform.
I don't know. And maybe your looks will also secure you some votes. But thank you so much, Thanasagren Moodley, who's a provincial independent candidate for KwaZulu-Natal for the upcoming elections. Are you convinced looking at his looks?